Welcome back to the Bumper Breakfast. Yes, this morning we have a guest in the studio, and like I said earlier, we're talking about alternative medicine, and our concern really is how much can we deviate from the drug, the injections, the vaccines, and all of that, and just be healthy. Especially because the man in question is someone who has been talking about this for quite a while. He calls it, is an alternative medicine practitioner, calls himself a healer, and runs an outfit called Alexilia Healing Services right in our backyard, Ogun State. This morning, it is my pleasure to introduce to you Nkem Kweluka. Am I correct?
Yes, you are.
Nkem Kweluka Ezike. Yes. Good morning.
Thank you for welcoming.
Where are you from? Nkem is Igbo.
Nkem is Igbo, definitely.
Yes. Where are you from?
I'm from a number of states.
Oh, okay.
Precisely.
What does your name mean? I know Nkem is my home. So what's the rest?
Do we know my home?
Nkem Kweluka actually means what I agree on is the greatest.
Nkem Kweluka.
That my conviction is the greatest.
My conviction is the greatest. Wow, what a name. What a name. Good to have you on the show this morning. Let's talk about you first of all. How long have you been doing this? How long have you been into the business of alternative medicine? And what's your discipline really?
Actually, I read computer science in the university.
Okay.
But just at the point of graduation, I had this inner steering, which became led to a call that from this time onwards in your life, you have to follow the path of your calling. And it took me a pretty long while to come to terms with that. And eventually, in the year 2006, I had graduated 96, 97 from University of Nigeria, Nsukka. But in the year 2006, after going through certain spiritual tutelage, I was able to realize that I'm gifted to actually heal.
Okay.
Yes, I'm gifted to heal with herbs. I'm gifted to heal with radiations. I'm also gifted to carry out what we call deliverance healings. All right. Okay. The last two, as mentioned, are more or less personal healings. But when it comes to remedial healings or natural healing with natural substances, it's more of a generic thing.
Okay.
And in the process of coming
I'm getting much more confused.
Okay. Okay, let me try to.
No, don't worry.
Okay,
don't worry.
Okay. Actually, I discovered that we could run around and just say that a particular herb does this.
Okay.
But then, when I'm being tutored spiritually on how to use that herb, it's not exactly what people have been saying. That.
So, for example, my grandmother used to go to the backyard, pick up a bit of leaves here and there,
Yes, exactly.
and use the leaves to do some concoction and apply it on the skin. Maybe she says there is a skin rash somewhere.
Yeah.
She puts that on it and then religiously for maybe 2-3 days, and then it stops. Or she just goes into the bush and takes this away journey. And she tells you when you have very chronic malaria and she's done all the concussion and that one is not working, she just goes straight into the bush and she brings this chronic, very bitter, coily, whatever. Yeah. And then she brings that one. This time around, she's not cooking it. She washes it and she squeezes it, and she puts it in a cup, and then you have to drink it religiously for like 3 days.
Yes.
And then my mindset was, this is the leaf they used to do chloroquine in those days because it was really bitter. Are you saying that some of those, are you saying that some of those beliefs that our mothers, our fathers had about this tree does this one does that, you discovered during your study?
I discovered things in addition to that. So
not like away from that, but
not
much
really,
more.
No, much more than that.
Okay,
so in respect to that, it was I would describe it in this sense. Up to a point, we discovered that diseases were beginning to manifest, and most of these traditional therapies were no longer working as effectively as they should work. Not that they don't handle these problems as well. So at the point, medical science had to come into the picture and take over the healing processes.
Okay.
And somehow relegated them what we may call herbal medicine or traditional medicine to the background, probably completely occluding it from the system.
Obliterating it from our system altogether.
But except for someone who really wants to do or go the way of natural medicine. Okay, so and this has persisted over the years until recently. Medical science is beginning to encounter its own problem, just as natural medicine had encountered its own problem. And now people are seeking alternatives.
Like evolving.
Yes, exactly. People are seeking alternatives. How do we overcome it? Now it's the turn of medical science. Before it was the turn of natural medicine, now it's the turn of medical science. How do we overcome these obstacles and challenges? That is where the gift comes into the picture.
Okay.
And let me say, I may not be the only one, but what I do is very effective. So the gift is that as a human being, you were gifted in such a way that these herbs that have been used in this way in the past, some of them, when you apply them, the gift enables them to receive amplification power. And that amplification power is like medical science, isolating an active principle from a plant, intensifying it, and applying it. So the amplification, to amplify the healing strength of that herbal remedy does not actually require you increasing the amount of the dosage. What it does is that it enables you as a gifted one to pass on radiations that uses that amount to carry out the healing process.
Wow. So, like I was telling you, and I said, I'm getting much more confused. But since I'm not the doctor, the healer, there's no point not getting confused. But my question would have been, what can this not do?
Yes, exactly.
What can alternate? Because we're talking about our own environment. This is the kind of medicine that our fathers grew up with, our mothers grew up with. This is the medicine that started, the healing process in our country, in our villages.
I think it's much more than that, because for me, I've been trying to wrap my head around the radiation and the deliverance part of all of this. So that makes it more complicated.
That's why I'm asking, what can this not do? So what are the limitations?
Okay,
especially when we talk about radiation, you see the radiation part. We need explanation. And then the deliverance.
That's why I'm.
It's running in your head too. It's running in my too.
It's pretty simple, but I think we'll get to that point.
Okay. Yes. All right. So what can this not sort out?
When it comes to remedial healing, definitely where you have deformities, like missing limbs, missing tissues, and all those stuff, it really cannot do anything there. But when you are guided right, be it an infectious disease, an ailment, even if disorders, you can actually do something. And that will depend on the strength of the healer in question. That's the gift, one who is gifted to actually use herbs to heal. His own strength of spiritual efficiency in the healing process would determine how far he can drive these healing potencies as contained in the natural substances that he uses. So you may have variances when one particular herbal substance is used by different healers. That will depend on how well each healer disposes himself towards the light, God, and of course, the supporting cosmic forces that are in the service of the light.
So, missing limbs and all of that, meaning that they cannot be replaced.
They cannot be replaced.
Okay.
Using herbs.
Using herbs. Okay, so when you talk about radiations and you talk about deliverance, is it the kind of deliverance that we hear in the religious setting when they say they're doing deliverance for somebody and stuff? Is it, or maybe I should just ask, is alternative therapy, medical therapy, is it spiritual?
Yes, spirituality should be included into alternative healing practices.
Okay.
Yes, but at the higher levels, it's still under debate, because when you talk about spiritual healing, not using things like herbs to heal spiritual problems, but using spiritual substance to heal both spiritual and physical problems. You see, there has to be some manner or measure of consistency in carrying it out. As for instance, for now, with the NHS, that's the British, I don't know how the British health system.
Medical.
Now, they have come to accept that there are energy healers, people who can share certain energies of their bodies with other people, and they now allow them to come to the hospitals and influence certain healing processes, like people who are in pains, cancer patients who are in pains. If you have come to a point where you know how to transmit certain bodily energies to other people, that you could come and they give you a cancer patient to treat, you reduce pain, you try to see how you can bring back humor.
I really need to confirm that.
Yes, you can, and they are well paid for it as well.
I really need to
Oh,
confirm.
they actually
They
pay.
are now on salary.
I will actually confirm
they are
that, because
they are
this is the
ahead.
first time I'm
They are further
hearing
ahead, yes.
things like that.
Oh, they are further ahead
Further
of
ahead,
us.
yes. They have come to accept it, and now they have inculcated it.
So
into
those are the
Into
things
the
you
healing
do.
process.
yes,
So-
the medical
She
healing
just
process.
asked a question.
Please, madam.
Those are the things you do.
I can do that as well.
You can do that.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Have you done that outside of Nigeria before?
Well, on a couple of occasions, I have been able to do distant healing with some people in Jamaica, in London, in Germany.
Over the phone?
Well, not necessarily over the phone.
You said distance healing.
Distance healing is not there and there.
Yes, it's not necessarily over the phone, but
Okay.
we need to synchronize time. That is, I can tell you that at 8 a.m., be in a state of prayer, that I'm going to be sending healing radiations to you.
Oh, really?
Yes, and they do confirm.
Now you
improvement.
scare me.
No, you don't have to be scared at all.
Okay, so all of this comes down to what exactly are the things that are needed for people to benefit from this therapy? Are you licensed by the government? What is the confidence, that people would have in your healing organization?
Okay. Let us start with HIV/AIDS. The very first patient I handled was
You heal HIV?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes, I do.
You've moved past us in Nigeria.
It's beyond what anybody claims. Now, I have invited the research councils to come and work with me, so
Okay.
that this can be validated and
No,
nobody
there's actually some vaccines now,
Yes. And in recent times
in
now,
the Western world.
it's been brought to the minimal, but the dangers are still there.
Yes.
Yes, the dangers are still there because inflammations do go on. The dangers are still there because with prolonged HIV in the body, a lot of things can go wrong and are
Yes.
beginning to go wrong. So it's not yet to hurry for those people who carry the virus in themselves.
Okay, so let's go back to our questions. She said, are you licensed to do all of this?
Well, I'm registered to practice in Nigeria as an alternative medicine practitioner,
Okay.
and that is how far Nigeria have come. When it comes to specificities, now we haven't come that far. That
So
if
there
I say I'm
are
a
no
rep-
limitations. The government is
No,
not saying,
not yet.
don't touch this, only touch this. They just license you.
you say what you can do, and if that's okay,
So what you have been licensed to do just is the alternative medicine, which we can call the tradomedical, using the herbs and all of that,
yeah,
isn't
the
it?
tradomedical is all part of the alternative medicine
So you're licensed to do
practice
that.
that in the country.
Oh, is it? You're saying it's part of?
We don't talk about license. Actually, what we talk about is you are allowed to do it. Licensing goes much further. It calls
Okay.
for more professional analysis and examination of the people who are involved. And those things are still in the process.
So what do you mean you are allowed to do
I'm
that?
registered. Let me use the word.
Okay, you are registered to do
practice,
that.
To practice in
Who
Nigeria.
registers people for that? Who registers people for this?
The CAC does
You
that.
still the C-
But
Okay,
you
you're
must
talking
belong
about-
to some, either you must be
The body-
certified to practice by a board, a state board for traditional medicine practice.
Is it not the normal CAC registration, like I want to have a business name and all of that, and I go to do the
Yes,
registration?
but if you say you want to practice alternative medicine, there are some conditions that you have to meet.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Oh,
So we
okay.
call
So
it
it's just not
registration.
like the regular registration.
No, not
So
exactly
tell us
like
the things you do because of our time.
Yes, because I want to speak on HIV/AIDS
Okay.
because I think it's necessary for that to be said. I have made the attempt as far back as 2006, but nothing came out of it. Until 2013, I decided that, okay, I'm going to take my time and get this thing really done. Last year, I put it up, and I invited people to come. And as of now, I've handled about 14 cases. And the cases, what I'm trying to say here is that
Are you? No, let me get
I want
you.
him to land.
Yes, let me get you right. You handled 14 cases.
About 14
you
cases.
yield.
now
you
that's
yield.
where we are getting.
So that's what I want him
That's
to
where we are
land.
getting to now.
So let him land.
Okay, so
That he yield. Is that what?
All right, so welcome back. We've been speaking to Mr. Ezike, am I correct? About alternative medicine, and he was about telling us exactly what has happened with HIV/AIDS. That is the area
No.
he's focusing on right now.
Yes,
He said he has handled, was the word, 14 cases. Okay, please explain that.
Tommy, I'd like to use I'd like him to confirm,
Yes.
because handled is different from
yes, well, I'm trying to
Yeah,
explain
so,
something.
so
Now we're on the
he's
public
breaking it
space.
down.
I'm not going to be allowed to say that I have healed
Okay.
completely, but I can safely say that I have treated and managed about 14 persons,
okay.
and the viruses did not recall. Now, on my own, that is healing, but
Okay.
the government, science will require that to be proven.
Yeah, but
before
have
it
they
is
gone back
certified.
for the HIV test and it has been proven
Obviously,
negative?
it was undetectable, and they did not take anything going to almost 1 year now, and they are still undetectable. But they are going to test positive to antibody presence in the body because the body has reacted to the virus. And so many of them are not rested because when they do the pinprick test, it's positive. But when they do the PCR test, that actually determines whether there is viral presence in the body and to what extent that it is in the body, it's undetectable. Now, if you understand the mechanism of HIV/AIDS, within 1 month without treatment, it's going to multiply. Now, you stay 1 month, you stay 2 months, 3, 4, 5, 6, without taking ARV or my remedy, and you remain undetectable. What do you suggest that for?
Okay, so since we're talking about alternative medicine this morning, and Mr. Ezike is basically trying to let people know that these options exist.
Yes, certainly.
Am I correct?
Correct.
I'd like you to give the people your contact details, those who want to ask questions, those who want to visit your office, to make their own conclusions or come to their own conclusions. How do they reach you?
Yes, I can be reached in my place of...
But before you say that, we'd like to tell the viewers that these are basically his own views about
Precisely. There's
No, of
always a
course, it's his
disclaimer.
business.
There's always a disclaimer.
It's his
because
business.
it is not scientifically proven. So I hold my disclaimer to myself
Okay.
that whatever I say relates to me particularly.
Exactly.
And if anybody tries to venture, assuming I name a plant and you venture to want to take it on your own, you are strictly responsible for the outcome therein. And that's a disclaimer on my part.
Oh, okay. So please give people your contact details and all of
All
that.
right. My office is located at number 92 Akute Adinwa Road in Akute. That's Ogun State, just not so far away from this place. All right. And in my practice, I use herbs for diseases. I can use radiations as well, and I do naturally do deliverance healing. But I hold this disclaimer. Everything I do has a spiritual backing in it. and the results are always there, be it in the medical sense of it or in the spiritual sense of it. But there is something I have come to experience. When an individual is negatively oriented, it is difficult for healing to take place with that person.
So,
So that's more like, yes, that's more like a contraindication.
When we say in the church, we say faith.
I told you, I
Yes.
said this is like religious as well.
Well, anything spiritual.
So I even think even for medicine, medical practice as well, sometimes some people just don't want to get healed. They're too negative. So whatever it is that they're using just, contradicts. They use it for A, it works, but then they use it for B, and it keeps not working. And then they discover that the person does not really want to be healed in the first place.
Okay,
Anyway,
you want to leave
your phone numbers and all of that.
Okay,
For
yes.
those.
My official number for contact is 080-946-78145.
Take that again, please.
080-946-78145.
Okay, that's the number.
Yes, that's just
and
the
your
number.
address again.
92 Akute Ajuma Road or 92 Ajuma Akute Road, whichever one.
Thank you so much to Mr. Ezike for joining us on the show this morning. It's an alternative medicine practitioner, and he's been talking a lot about the potency of medical practice. It could do a lot if you believe in it.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I like that. If you believe in it.
Yes, if you believe in it. We'll now take a break, and when we come back, we're talking about social media. We'll be back.